This recipe has got nothing to do with rising or big bubbles or big breads. It's a way of using sourdough leaven to make delicious flatbreads, sourdough lavash crackers. The key ingredient here is the leaven. In fact, leaven is 200% of the flour in this recipe. That makes it about 10 times more than the average sourdough bread. Having such a lot of leaven gives us a lot of flavour, a rich and complex bouquet that makes our crackers delicious. Because our main ingredient, the leaven, has already been fermenting for some hours, this makes the dough much healthier and easier for our guts to digest. However, it doesn't mean it's a long recipe to make. Once you've got the leaven ripe, you can go from mixing to getting it out of the oven in just over 1 hour. The best leaven to use for making great lavash crackers is a really ripe one. We made this one using 1 part starter from the fridge, 2 parts of our leaven feeding flour mix and 2 parts water. Then we left it in a nice warm place to bubble away. It should at least double to make yours. This one has more than doubled and is just about to drop, which is the perfect time for making crackers. You can see from this little line here that it's just starting to drop. And this is really ripe leaven. It will have an excellent level of acidity in it thanks to the increased amount of lactobacillus bacteria. And that's what's going to give the great satisfying flavour to those crackers. Starting with the leaven, because that's the biggest ingredient. Next I'm going to add 100 grams of flour. I'm using white spelt, but you can use any white bread flour. Now I'm going to add the salt and now the olive oil. The olive oil is what gives it lots of extra flavour and makes it really crispy. I'm just going to simply mix this into a dough. Very much smaller dough than I'm used to handling, but it's going to stretch out into lots and lots of crackers. You just have to make sure that the olive oil is properly distributed through. And you don't have to overdevelop it because it's already had lots of development when the leaven was being ripened. Spelt absorbs water pretty quickly. If you were using a different bread flour, an ordinary wheat bread flour, you would have to knead for a little bit longer just to get everything properly absorbed. There you can see that's about it. Smooth and well mixed. It's all it needs. So maybe 1 minute total kneading. Put it back in the bowl. I'm going to cover it, leave it in a warm place for 1 hour. And then I'll come back. It won't have risen massively, but the extra flour will now have started to ferment along with the leaven, making it ready to divide and stretch out. Now it's time to divide the dough and roll it out into crackers. You can either use a rolling pin or a pizza roller, and I'll show you how to do that next. I've got 4 baking trays lined with baking parchment here and 1 extra sheet of baking parchment which I'm going to brush with oil that will go on top of our portion of dough. So let me do that first. This is so that you can easily peel the sheet off. Now I'm going to divide the dough into quarters, just by eye. Now I put a quarter on each sheet to deal with one at a time. There's a small amount of pre-shaping that'll make it easier to roll out. Then I take the oiled sheet and put it oil side down on top of the dough. Then this is how you do it with a pizza roller. Just roll it out until it's almost the size of the tray and almost see-through. Now the fun part, carefully peel off the top sheet. And there you have some nice thin crispy cracker dough. First thing to decorate them with is a mixture of nigella seeds and sesame seeds. Nigella are black onion seeds. Score it into cracker shapes. I like to score my crackers into rectangles, but you can do squares or irregular. The important thing is to score swiftly and lightly. Don't go through the paper or scratch your tin, and know that they will break apart when they are baked. I'm going to finish these with a few little shreds of red onion, which bake on really nice and sweet to the cracker. This is going off to a preheated oven, and in 7 minutes time we can pour a glass of wine. If you don't have a handy pizza roller and you want to use a rolling pin, pre-shape the dough like this. Put the paper on oil side down and do the same thing. Roll it out. Beautiful stretchy leaven dough. Okay, there's my beautiful blank canvas. Sometimes I like to decorate the crackers with edible flowers. Not much in the garden this time of year, but this is just to give you the idea. These are little daisy types. That will be one cracker there. These are nice for dinner parties when you have the patience to be a bit fiddly. Just make sure you use the flowers that you know are edible from your own garden. There. Right. This is like pressed wild flowers we used to make when we were kids. And I just roll them in to the dough. Penny's flower press. And now peel. And now we're going to score them into cracker shapes in situ on the tin. There. 4 squares and a long. Another thing I like to put on the crackers is this za'atar, which is a bit like thyme and marjoram, sesame, traditional mixture from the Middle East, and it's delicious. This is now going off to the oven.